The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Curran and Joseph Christina as they serve up the hottest photography news and commentary.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 196. I'm Joseph Christina. On last week's show, we talked about the iPhone 6 Plus recall, Canon's M-Series revamp, where to find thousands of royalty-free audio tracks, and marketing budgets for 2015. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at digitalphotographycafe.com and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/dphotocafe. Listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps, or subscribe through iTunes or RSS. So, hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I am rolling here solo once again. Trevor, he's busy. It is Labor Day, and he is laboring. So it's just going to be me today. So I'm going to try to make it a little bit quick, but, you know, I say that all the time, and then it ends up running long. So bear with me. I hope you enjoy the show. We have a lot of good content. And yesterday was my birthday, and I'd be remiss if I don't tell everyone thank you. I have so many thousands of fans that are on Twitter and on Google Plus and Facebook and all over the place. And I've got so many, just well wishes and just happy birthdays and all of this stuff. Just yesterday was like blowing up. I love you guys. Really appreciate it. It makes everything I do just worth it. It's just awesome. You guys are awesome. So thanks for that. Thanks for all of the comments and the questions and kind of things that you want to hear about. I really appreciate that. Keep those coming. If there's something specific that you want me to look at, a product or a topic or anything, feel free. Send it over. Send it over to @JosephChristina. And that, once again, is Christina without an H on Twitter. And I read just about everything. So send it over there, or you can send it directly to the show, or however you get it to me. Definitely send it over, because I like to make sure that we're constantly covering things that are of interest to you guys. So anyways, moving into the show, we got a lot of good things. Starting out I'd say about 2 or 3 months ago, I was talking about how I would like to see cameras have Wi-Fi built in. And it's always been an issue, and Canon has been notorious for this. And to actually have Wi-Fi in one of the Canon cameras, it just costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Other companies are starting to do it cheaper, or now they're starting to build them in. It's one of those things that I can understand why they're not put in, because most likely it has to do with just the signal itself. You're trying to push signal through a magnesium alloy body. That's probably not the easiest feat. So they kind of opt to just allow these third-party manufacturers to create these SD cards. A new one out there is the Eyefi. It's called the Mobi Pro, and it's a 16 gig SD card, and it looks very interesting. It's coming in. It's going to release in the UK at first, but it's going to come in at about £49.99. So this comes to about $56, let's say US, when it hits here. But it is going to come with a unlimited storage, cloud storage, which is normally a cost of, I think it's right around $40. So, it's kind of cool. I mean, that's kind of nice to be able to just upload your RAWs and upload your JPEGs into the cloud, and do it while you're, let's say, in the field, as long as you have some type of Wi-Fi connection. So that's really cool. So it looks really good. It's, Eyefi has always been a good product. This Mobi Pro looks like, by the specs that I'm reading, it's going to be as good, if not better. And plus, they're upping the ante now with that free or quote-unquote included cloud service. So anyways, that's going to drop on September 3rd, so probably about a week after you're receiving the show. So it's already out. Hopefully, we'll see it here in the U.S. shortly. Anyways, moving on. You guys know I've talked about this in the past. I do not only photos, but I do video production. I'm a DP. Director of photography. I do a lot of different things on a regular basis. And for years and years and years, I've used Final Cut Pro, and that was Pro 7. That was back in the day. And then once they neutered it and went to Final Cut Pro X, I said, there was just there's too many things, multicam, there's too many things that were kind of neutered out of it that many of the pros, myself included, migrated over to Premiere, right? So Apple has just, I don't know, they just are focusing in on Final Cut, and I'm glad that they are. They're really kind of bringing it back into the professional arena. We talked about this probably a couple of months ago where there was their movie that just dropped. I do not remember what the movie was, but the entire movie was done with Final Cut Pro in comparison to Avid or Premiere or some other application. So they're definitely starting to go pro in comparison to their photos, which they obviously release photos and they got rid of aperture and whatnot. You know, they're at least keeping with us pros on the video side, not so much on the photo side. So anyways, the Final Cut Pro 10.2 is going to have like the 3D titling, which is really cool with gradation. You can do like color grading as well as masking and whatnot. I'm sure you guys have seen that before, the 3D titles, which is kind of neat. Also, it's going to have the GPU acceleration for Red RAW. Now, we know Red cameras are huge in the video market. Shooting RAW in video is imperative for anyone that's doing it professionally because they need a color grade after the fact. If you use a DSLR, we all know you're shooting JPEGs. JPEGs are really just notorious to be what it is what it is. Get it right in camera, or that's about basically it. That's not the case when you're shooting RAW. You can actually do the manipulations like we would do in Lightroom. You can do in here. So very interesting. I like that they have this GPU acceleration, Motion 5.2, as well as the latest and greatest compressor 4.2 is going to be included in this package, which is good. There's a lot of, let's say, upping as far as those packages goes, as far as the strength of them and how fast they're running and all the back end stuff that they're doing. They made it a little bit tighter, a little bit quicker, a little bit easier to use. So I like it, really like it a lot. What really I think is the item to really concentrate here on, and this has been the case as we've talked about alternatives to Lightroom and to Photoshop and whatnot in the past. I'm going to say the same way as with, let's say, for example, with Premiere. When you purchase Premiere, let's say it's $50 a month or whatever that you're spending for it, you're going to be spending $50 ad nauseum. This Final Cut Pro X 10.2 is $299. If you want the latest and greatest motion and compressor, you can do so at $50 a piece. So let's say if you wanted everything new, guys, you're looking at approximately $400. That's it. That's your outlay. That is indefinite. Obviously, down the road, if there's something specific you might want to upgrade, but most of these upgrades are going to be free upgrades anyways, in comparison to using Adobe, where you're kind of on the hook for this bill every single month. Now, this is $400 complete out the door. How many 50, 50, 50, 50? How many months do you have to go down the road? Not too many, right? Before you make that $400 back. So now that it is, I would say, a better package and they're really going towards the professional market again, I would have no problem to switch back to Final Cut Pro X today. We haven't done it as of yet in studio, but it might be something that is coming because, as I was saying, having that method of just purchasing something one time in comparison to having a monthly subscription model, I like it. I really like owning products. I like owning. I'm not a subscription type of guy, but that doesn't mean it's not right for you. Anyways, moving on. A couple weeks ago, we talked about tablets and how the importance of tablets and how great they are for doing photo manipulations, for doing painting, for doing any type of work that you're doing fine, precise work on, let's say, an image. I think I recommended picking up, let's say, a tablet piece of software that you can start using your tablet, let's say an iPad or Samsung or whatnot, and use that as let's say a Cintiq or an Intuit tablet. And it's a good way to kind of get into, put your foot, let's say, into the door. So for me, I saw this come out and there's a brand new Wacom like series of tablets. One is called the Art, the Comic, the Photo, and the Draw. And they come in like 3 different colors. So they're little, it's like a little bit fun. It's not like the usual pro Intuos type of look where it's very, sharp and it looks very professional. This looks professional too, but it's a little bit more fun. And what they've done is they've kind of lowered it a little bit. Instead of having 2,048 points of pressure, let's say now it's, I think it's 1024. But I tell you what, my old tablet was always 1024. Never really knew the difference. So that number really doesn't mean a lot. But what's interesting is the art, the comic, and the photo, they all come with their own different software packages. Draw, the version of that one does not have the touch sensitivity, which I do like. So for me, I would stay away from Draw. It's nice to be able to pinch and pull and kind of get in there right on the tablet. So now photo, we talked about this, I think it was the week before last or maybe about a month now or so. And I did a review. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to put an annotation here in this video. I did a review of Lightroom and Corel Aftershot Pro. And I was kind of comparing the two and how Corel is really getting there. And it could actually be an alternative to paying that subscription model. And what's interesting here is the photo model of this Intuos is including, free of charge, Corel Aftershot Pro. So that's kind of neat. Kudos to Corel for kind of getting involved in that and getting in there in comparison to seeing that everything goes out there with Adobe products. It's nice to see other people kind of in the arena. Anyways, as far as the size, they have small and medium. Small is about a 4x6, so you know how small that is. That's a little bit small for me. The medium is an 8.5 by 5.5, right around. That's more along the size that I would use. I think it's a good, you have a nice movement like on your screen real estate, especially if you have a big 27-inch monitor. That little bit larger helps you from doing this little microscopic movements, number one. And number two, the amount of desktop real estate that 5.5 by 8.5 takes is not that much. So it's something to kind of keep in mind, let's say. Anyways, price, $99 for the small, double that, $199 for the medium. But it's something to definitely look at. I really like it. I do like it. There is a lot of alternatives out there, but bear in mind, we all know that Intuos is the leader when it comes to graphic tablets. So anyways, a lot more, guys. We're going to take a quick break to hear from one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back. The 3-in-1 Photo Reference Tool is a versatile, all-in-one color reference accessory designed to help you dial in white balance, exposure, and color temperature. With its 37 anti-reflective color reference tiles, both photographer and videographer can take complete control over their color workflow. The front side features 19 color tiles. The large 18% gray card with center target makes autofocus lockup easy while providing fast in-camera custom white balance and single-click color correction in post-production. The 6-step exposure gradient provides perfect tonal reproduction, balancing highlights with deep, rich blacks in every image. Its 12 tiles of primary, processed, and standard skin tone colors are perfect for digital reference. On the backside of the 3-in-1 Photo Reference Tool, you will find 18 custom tiles. 6-step exposure gradient including an 18% gray tile, perfect for dialing in exposure and neutralizing color temperature in post-production. And finally, perfect for the portrait photographer, a unique 12-step gradient unlike any other color reference tool, allowing warming, cooling, and neutralizing color with a single click. From in-camera to post-production, the 3-in-1 Photo Reference Tool helps push your creativity to the next level, providing complete color control over all your imaging creation. Grab one today from your local camera dealer or visit our website at jchristina.com. So hey guys, welcome back. So moving on, Adobe. We know that they discontinued Photoshop Touch app from your iPad, right? What happened, guys, right? It was a really cool application. I like the idea of being able to do modifications, slight manipulations, but even more importantly, star ratings on, let's say, a catalog of images from the comfort of a couch, let's say, or away from the computer, let's call it. Well, as of October, they're going to be releasing their new mobile photo app. So this is good. I really want to see what this ends up looking like. For me, I like it. I like having this functionality. So we'll see what ends up happening. Figure on October, there's going to be the new app that's going to come out. Supposedly it's going to have, it's going to be available for free. But also it's going to have like facial recognition. It's going to immediately come out for iPhone as well as iPad. And then eventually, of course, they'll release it for Android, but they always go with the Apple products first. So keep that in mind. Watch October for that. Adobe's mobile app. Really, it looks interesting. We'll talk about it more in October once it is released, and we'll kind of give it maybe a comparison to the old Adobe's Photoshop Touch that they discontinued. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. Anyways, moving on. This kind of hits a little bit near and dear to my heart. It's almost like a PSA that I saw that I'm going to do and I'm going to give to you guys. There was a Alabama, I believe it is, district attorney, and they found an application that just kind of hit them wrong. It didn't make any sense. And they did some research and kind of rummaging around about it and found out that, yes, that app is kind of a app that hides images, that allows your kids to hide photos from you just in plain sight. Now, we know that there's applications out there, that are doing this already, that, Snapchat, for example, they're not hiding the photos, but the photos are disappearing in 5, 10, 15 seconds. So there's a lot of this sexting going on with the kids these days, as well as inappropriate images are being sent out. And even if your kids are not, let's say, quote unquote, involved, they're still receiving this imagery on a regular basis through Snapchat, through their friends. They share it back and forth. And now having this new app that allows them to take those images, store them on the phone for safekeeping or future viewing or sharing with their friends, just in plain day, let's say in plain sight. It's kind of disconcerting, right? So the application looks just like the regular calculator icon. The only difference is the calculator has a percentage next to it, a little percentage sign. So if you see that on your kid's phone, ask them what's it about. They're going to lie to you, of course, but more importantly is you're going to need their password, because the calculator will actually work just like a calculator. But if you type in a certain numeric code, all of a sudden it opens up all of these, their hidden photos. So I don't really know. For me, obviously you have to trust your kids, but it's one of those things. How much trust do you give them, and then how much parenting do you have to do on the back end? And that's kind of thing that you have to weigh, and every parent does it a little bit different. For me, seeing this PSA out there by this district attorney, I just had to share it with you guys. So we'll put a little a show note in the shows that you can go to see the video. She did an awesome job at describing this application called Calculator and how it's being used, and how to find it and how to disable it and whatnot, kind of ad nauseum. So anyway, something to look for. And hopefully, if you look at your kid's phone, you will not find this application. Anyways, finally, Kickstarter. Love Kickstarter, right, guys? I'm a fan of Kickstarter ever since the very beginning. I always try finding Kickstarter projects that are photo related. For me, I'm kind of like an artistic shooter as well as commercial, right? I love playing around with like a lens baby and with other types of methods, like for example, an old Holga. I just like it. I just like being able to just create and not have to worry about what is happening or what's going on. Once you become a proficient photographer and you know the tool inside and out, I think at that time you kind of can free your mind and just create, because you know what's going on. The thing with Holga is that you'd put in a piece of film, you'd take a shot, you never knew what you were going to get, because it just inherently has light leaks. The lenses are plastic, so you never know if you got a good one, a bad one. And what you would do is, back in the day, we would use the Holgas, and we would know one Holga body had more of a light leak than the other. One lens did something really creepy, whereas the other one did something, kind of odd. And you would marry the body to the lens to make a specific shot. Well, guess what? It's this people, they're actually creating now a digital Holga. And it's right now, and it's a Kickstarter. And that to me is just absolutely fascinating, because I've told people in the past, if your creativity is kind of a little bit in a lull, go ahead and just shoot some film, shoot some old, you use an old camera, do some stuff that's just completely out of your norm. And a Holga is a great way to do that. Lens Baby is another. So anyways, you're going to be able to, with this digital camera, you're going to be able to shoot it either at f8 or at f2.8, either which way. And then you have two frame sizes. You can do a 1:1, which will give you a square frame, or you can do a 4:3, which of course will be the elongated version. It supports Wi-Fi that we were just talking about. So you can slip in one of these SD cards that we were talking about earlier, the Eyefi, and now you can transfer those Holga images straight over to your computer or up into the cloud. Isn't that great? You also have the functionality of changing, or the option of changing vignetting during capture, which you could also on the old Holga. And also you have a hot shoe, so you can add a flash, which is really cool. And you have now a long cable that comes with it for long bulb exposure. So you can do extremely long exposures if you would like with it. Really like it. I think it's really neat. Also, the thing like I was talking about just a few moments ago about the lenses and how each one of these lenses are slightly different. That makes them cool. That makes them wonderful. It's just great. But these digital Holgas now will allow you to marry those old lenses to the digital version. So all those old great lenses that you used to have, that you used to love, you can now use on your digital version. Awesome. No LCD screen. Thank God. We don't want to chimp on the back when you're doing art. You don't care what it looks like. You just have an idea. You have a vision. You just go and shoot. Have fun with it. Those are your absolute best pictures. And that's a good way to explore creativity. Now, they originally were looking for a goal of like $38,000, guys. Not that much, right? They hit that in spades. They have 38 days left, and they're up to about $160,000. So if you do want to get one of these, and right now they have 1,700 backers. If you want to be one of those backers, the pledge is only $75, right? And it guarantees you a digital Holga. Definitely worth it. Take a look at it. If you want to go and check it out, you can go onto Kickstarter.com and do a search for Holga Digital or Digital Holga, and you'll see it'll pop right up. We'll also put a link into the show notes. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. I need to get out of here for another week. If you want to find me, you can do so on Twitter, and that's at Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H. So all right, guys, that's it. If you want to get all the show notes from this episode, you can do so by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/dphotocafe. And we'll see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Curran and Joseph Christina. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with any compatible device by visiting youtube.com/dphotocafe. Be sure to subscribe to our audio feed through iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps, or through RSS. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your host.